Don't have a big crowd to start today, and I'm hoping to keep this space short. But I guess the one thing that I wanted to share was that next week, a week from today, we'll be having our first community panel. We have set up a Twitter group that is for the purposes of getting volunteers, and if you're not in that group but would like to be in that group, just shoot me a quick DM and I'll quickly add you. And the whole purpose of the group is getting people to volunteer to be on a panel, which means just to be on the stage from the beginning of the show, so it's not a monologue the way it is right now. So yeah, if you or anyone you know would be interested in being on the stage next week, like 7 days from now at the same time, then please send me a DM and we'll add you to the group. And we're hoping to get 4 to 6 people, but it was much easier to get volunteers in the bull market than it is to get volunteers these days. So anyone that would be willing to help out, it would be greatly appreciated. Furthermore, 2 weeks after that, so 3 weeks from today, will be the European version special, which will be at 7 p.m. UTC. And we're also looking for volunteers for that. So thank you in advance for your participation. For now, I guess I'm doing a monologue. I will start by saying the news of the week that was. And the biggest news, I think, is this new ASM activation, where it's kind of like a little mini game where you can train your brain to play. Is it Pong? Is that like the original version of the name of the game? I'm not quite sure because I'm not very good at that type of information. But if you haven't tried it, you maybe should. I'm in that boat. I haven't tried it, but I've been meaning to try it today. Well, I hope next week we will have not a monologue, because I never know what to say when it's just me talking by myself. So, Mometa's gonna help me out. So here we are. We got Mometa, so it's no longer a monologue. Thank you.
I'm going to do my best, buddy. I'm going to do my best. I'm really busy. I've got a new dog starting today because I still love working with the dogs in the morning. And it's a French Bulldog puppy. And I tell you what, it's just farted in my car and my eyes are physically burning. It is disgusting. All right.
French Bulldogs have some big time farts.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. I'm about to pick another one up. Keep talking. I'm up here. I'll be with you in just a sec.
Clover is right next to me, so I'm also with the dog, but Clover does not fart, in case anyone was wondering. She doesn't. She just likes to play ball.
Where are we up to, Max? We're covering the ASM Pong?
Yeah, well, I haven't played the ASM game yet, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about it. But it does exist, and I'm sure some people in our audience might have had the opportunity to give it a shot. But I know a lot of the people in our audience are either at work or not able to talk. So I probably should have made a better effort to play it in time for the show, but I think we'll talk about it next week if there's nobody to talk about it this week on this short show.
Yeah, look, I had a quick play around with it, but I think
You had a quick play, but then you you went to mute. I guess you're busy with some dogs.
No, I'm good, I'm back in. So yeah, I checked it out quickly. I just want to let everyone know to keep their expectations in check with this. It's not about playing the game at this stage, it's about testing the protocol and the network Porcini to see how you use the XRP, how you use the ASTO token, and how you get that brain involved in training. So it's quite simplistic at this stage, and that's what it's there to do.
Maybe I should do that right now and walk people through it. And maybe that would be a good idea. 2 birds with 1 stone, because right now I have nothing to talk about. But if I do it, I can color commentate.
Yeah, go fire it up, and I'll just keep adding bits and bobs as we go.
Wow, okay. So we're gonna explain how this game works live for somebody doing it for the first time. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to Altered State Machine Discord ASM announcements page and copy the link, which is paddi.alteredstatemachine.xyz. And I'm going to copy it into my browser and see what happens. And we go to a website which says Paddi on the top left and gives you an opportunity to connect your wallet. And it says train and build your own AI agent. Introducing Paddi, a futuristic take on a nostalgic arcade game where you can trade an AI agent to compete in your place. This is a demo driven by a protocol for ownable, trainable, and tradable decentralized artificial intelligence. Take it one step further by building custom versions of Paddi using the open source ASM AI protocol in our GitHub repo. I'll get started by claiming testnet assets and learning how to play Paddi. So I think my first step is I'm going to connect my wallet, and I'm not going to commentate on the specifics of that for security reasons.
And for everyone listening, keep in mind this is going to be running on the Porcini testnet, and these are not your assets you'll be using. You'll be using test brains, and there's a faucet for the ASTO and for the XRP that'll be required.
So one thing that it does is it switches your network from Ethereum to the Porcini TRN testnet. I've heard that Porcini was a type of mushroom.
Yeah, it's a fairly stinky mushroom, generally because you normally get it dried, but yeah, Porcini smells like socks to me.
So now I am connected and I'm going to get testnet assets. And it allows me to claim XRP, claim ASTO, and claim brains. And this is all on a testnet, so this isn't like real tradable assets. Just testnet coins to allow you to test the network. And it seems like everything is pretty free. So I have 10 testnet XRPs now. Oh, my ASTO one got rejected. Let's try again. Failed transaction. I probably got.
So at this stage, you'll be looking at 3 pop-up screens, which have I guess it's the XRP, the ASTO, and the brain, or is it the brain first? What order are they in, Max?
So it's XRP, ASTO, and ASM brain. I changed my settings, and now I can claim everything, no problem. So I just claimed the ASM brain. I went out of order. And now I am claiming the ASTO.
So when you see that pop-up screen, do claim everything in the order from left to right, and that way everything will happen cleanly.
Well, I didn't do that, but I do think it's still working. So right now it says I have 10 XRPs, 100 ASTOs, and 1 ASM brains. And now, after claiming all 3 assets, you can begin training your AI agent to play Paddi. So I'm going to press start training, and it took me to a new page where it says, power up your paddle. Improve your paddle skills by training your ASM brain. Each training round pits your AI agent against an opposing paddle. After training is complete, you'll see how your paddle performs, giving you all the info you need to improve it as an AI agent. So step 1, select brain plus memory node. So when I click that, it says brain 579. Does that mean 578 people tried this already? Maybe. And it says, it has like a little picture, and a picture of a brain and a 3D looking picture that looks like pretty blocky. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And it says some stats about this brain 579. It says the size 2, strength 3, speed 5, endurance 7, and color $2BA6P4. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to select brain 579, and now I got a pop-up that says select node for memory tree. A memory node is a saved memory AI training model from past training stored in the memory tree of an ASM brain. Select a memory node to continue your AI agent's training or start from a new untrained memory. This brain has no associated memories. So now I click use untrained memory because that's the only button available. And then step 2 is training parameters. And when I click that, I get a pop-up saying select training inputs. This is where you train your paddle to move, hit, and win a game of Paddi. Select one of the AI agent training focus presets to guide your paddle towards specific behaviors. Change the learning parameters to reward or penalize your paddle as it trains. Your AI agent will try to score the most rewards during each training session, but relying solely on reinforcement rates may not guarantee an improvement. Results will vary between each ASM brain. Hint: if you're training for the first time, try selecting the movement position training focus and put more effort into near miss instead of paddle hit. So let me do that. I'm going to select the movement positioning training focus, which is already clicked before I did anything. And it wants me to put more effort into near miss instead of paddle hit. So near miss, it says 4.
At the moment, Max is looking at a spreadsheet, if you will, with different suggestions. What have you got? Speed and
yeah, I'm gonna list all of the options. So there's 2 different types of things. One says AI agent training focus and gives 4 choices for you to choose from. You can choose movement / positioning, you can choose attacking, you can choose defending, or you can choose all-rounded. Those are the 4 options, and you can select only one of those options. And when you select the different options, that changes the learning parameters, which are underneath. And the learning parameters have 6 different topics. They are win, loss, paddle hit, endurance depletion, near miss, and survival. And depending on which of the 8 AI agent training focuses you pick, there's a different presetting. But it appears that you can change the settings, so you can change the numbers. So right now I have the preset learning parameters, and I'm just going to press confirm training inputs. And it has win 1, loss -2, paddle hit 10, endurance depletion -2, near miss 4, survival 3. And I press the button, and now it says training units, 1 unit, or 10 ASTO in parentheses. And you can navigate on that scroll option to change from 1 unit up to 10 units, or anything in between. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta approve your use of ASTO on the Porcini testnet. So when you click that button, it asks you to set a spending cap where you can enter a number that you're comfortable with the third-party spending now or in the future, and you can increase the spending cap later. I'm going to make it 10,000 ASTA. I'm going to maybe use default. There's a use default button where it has a very large number of ASTA, which I think is fine because I'm on the Perchini network.
And just to make it clear, any of the number representations of the prices that it's going to cost to do these transactions aren't going to be relevant to when the actual main platform goes live.
Alright, so now I'm approving ASTA, and it confirmed. And so the next step is step 3, which is training opponent. So the title says select training opponent. Each training opponent has been optimized with certain characteristics. Select your training opponent wisely to maximize training effectiveness. And there are 4 options. Wall, just a wall, great to teach movement. Nimble, optimized for fast movements and trained to attack. Buff, optimized with increased endurance and survivability. And all-rounder, just that all-around good guy. Does anyone have a suggestion? It doesn't say which one.
Go wall, Max. Start with a wall, my friend.
Okay, well, so we'll start with the wall, and I'll begin training, and I'll just do 1 unit, which is 10 ASTA. Begin training. And now I see transaction pending, and a pop-up asking me to confirm a transaction. That will spend 1.14 testnet XRPs. So I press confirm, and it confirmed the transaction. And now I have a training history. So what's showing on my screen now is the history of this training session, which occurred on May 30th, 2023 at 7:19 p.m. and 48 seconds. The training parameters, which is a recap of your training input for this session, a model evaluation, training model evaluation against all training opponents. So it lists the number of my brain, 579, and learning parameter values, it shows when you click, and it says that my opponent is the wall opponent, and the amount of training units I use is 1, and that training is in progress. Do we know how long the training takes?
Doesn't take long, but what has just happened, Max, is you have created the first walkthrough manual for the Paddi AI protocol of how this works. Because at the moment there isn't one in existence. So I guess I give a shout out to Love for Crypto, Scotty, or Dip Collector. Try and get us a nice walkthrough of how to do this, following all those steps that Max just did, because for anybody, it can be a little bit tricky, and you're wondering if you're doing the right thing some of the time. So a nice video walkthrough would be great, but until then, Max, you've just done one for us, buddy. Now, the next thing that will happen is the training will complete, and you'll be able to watch the replay to see how you did against the wall. And I tell you what, it's exciting stuff to watch, I won't lie.
You can watch it play Pong?
Yes,
Is
you
that
can.
the correct name of the game?
Yeah, it's like ping pong, it's just pong.
But it's Paddi.
Yeah, I kind of remember vaguely playing this on like those brick phones back in the day.
Yeah, I started Space Invaders playing this way.
I think you're talking about
Space
Brick.
Invaders. But I'm about to get the dog.
Brick Breaker.
Yeah,
Max's.
no, I played the original Pong. Oh, Max's. Yeah, Brick Breaker was good. I like that
That's a
one.
different game, isn't it?
But Som's here. I had to get the dogs out of the car and get into the park. So, hey Som, there you take over,
Hey,
brother.
thanks for being here.
Oh, okay. We have action. Something just popped up onto the screen, and it allows me to press 2 buttons: game replay and evaluation.
Yeah, do the game replay.
So I guess I'll start with the game replay. Wow. Oh my god, it instantly lost? Oh, but it scored on the second attempt.
Yeah, I think it goes for maybe 100 attempts. I think that's the number.
Wow, so the wall the wall opponent doesn't move at all. And I have a thing that does move, but it's spazzy as hell and not very good at it. In fact, I would say pretty much anybody in the world would be better than any human controlling this would be better than the computer at this rate.
It's cool seeing it in 3D as well, like being able to interact with the table and kind of flip around, see different views. I thought that was nice touch.
Oh, I didn't realize you could do it. So yeah, you can click on it and move it around.
You can also export your replays via a shareable link, which I think is pretty neat.
Oh, should I do that so that people can watch
If you want, you can toss it in general chat.
Okay. Wait, shouldn't I put it in the tweet
thread?
Yeah,
you can do that. It'd be easier, probably more relevant.
I'll put it in the tweet thread. This is interesting. Sump, what's going on? Welcome. How are you?
Sorry I was late. Had to wrap up a call and do some things, but all good. Just staying busy and getting some stuff done.
Okay, so I'm going to the Down the Rabbit Hole Twitter thread and adding this replay. And now we can pin it. I don't think it's very entertaining, but I think it'd be nice that anyone that is listening and wants to see the visual can.
Not sure.
So as of now,
I think when you click into it on a phone, it'll probably tell you that you need a bigger screen, but you can do it on your computer if you're around one.
Oh, all right. Well, as of now, it's posted.
What is your stats on that looking like?
Okay, so now that we did that, let's close out the replay and look at.
Do you have one brain or multiple so far? Gotcha.
One.
You can get multiples and
you can have multiples.
You can just keep claiming them and run multiples at a time.
Well, now I see more things on my screen. It says before I just had the wall replay, but now I have the wall, the all-rounder, the buff, and the nimble. So when I click on the wall, the evaluation stats, my AI agent scored 49 and the opponent scored 51. So that's a little awkward. It lost to a inanimate object. Not great performance but it's the first time. I guess.
It didn't lose by much.
And the paddle, yeah, it was close. The paddle survival per turn shows how many times it survives 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns, etc. And pretty much all the time, more than half the time, it didn't survive. Well, almost 60% of the time, it didn't survive more than 1 turn. And then maybe 12 or 13 times it hit 2, 12 or 13 times it hit 3, and then pretty infrequently it made it longer than that. And that means like the number of times that it hit the ball successfully without dying, without the ball getting past the AI agent paddle thing. Missed ball distance from the paddle, and then it has a bunch of bar figures depicting how many times it missed the ball and from what distance. And then the last chart is a bar chart describing the remaining endurance per turn. So I guess endurance is a measure that I guess this paddle gets tired as the game goes on, but because it's not very good at making it far into the game, it usually has a lot of remaining endurance. So this is all pretty, I don't know, it's math.
Be honest, Max. Be honest, Max. I would have liked to have seen a bit more simplicity in regards to knowing how my brain did afterwards. I mean, pretty little bars that shoot up or something that can show me very clearly that during that training session, my brain improved in these areas. So yeah, at this stage, I mean, we've got an AMA coming up, haven't we, with them? Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, that's for tomorrow. I'll pin that as well.
Sweet.
It'll be interesting to see what it is they're hoping to gain knowledge-wise from this test they just put out.
By the way, now I also see how the brain did against other opponents, and it won 16 out of 100 against the all-rounder. It won 25 out of 100 against the buff opponent, and 28 out of 100 against the nimble opponent. So now I have the option to save memory, and when I do that, there's a gas cost associated with it of 2.05 testnet XRPs. So I'll confirm that and I'll save the memory. And then what happens next? I can do it again. So I got a confirmed transaction and it says memory node pinned or memory saved. And now if I go back to the screen where you test, I can do it again. Now there's also a button to click on the GitHub. So for anyone that is interested in that or is like knowledgeable in coding or wants to see the details on how this was created or the code used, you can click on the GitHub link and take a look.
Yeah, I think that was a huge achievement just to like open source this and kind of show, you know, the code behind it all and how it was built and really just put that in the hands of the community. It's a really awesome part of Paddi, in my opinion.
Before I continue, a quick word from our sponsors that make the show possible.
It is interesting. I don't really know yet what to think about it. I think it's a good opportunity to learn more about some of the intricacies of this protocol.
How did you find the user experience?
Well, it was not difficult at all to figure out what to do to make it work. So in that regard, it's pretty good. What else? I mean, the UX is pretty comfortable. I wonder if they could do a better job of explaining what's going on, but they do explain what's going on. It's just a very complex subject. I think that's the main issue.
I think the tooltips are super helpful. I know it's kind of hard to understand like what the parameters are that are going in maybe, but I think when you kind of hover over the tooltips, it'll give you pretty good descriptions of what, you know, you're changing. Maybe like Mo Meta said earlier, getting the data afterwards and like what was improved, maybe like visualizing that can be improved in time, like how that data is represented.
I think there's a real opportunity there to reach out to some of these content creators and say, here's the information, here's the tester of it, put a video together and we can release it at the same time as we release the the app. That way, anytime someone tries it for the first time and they're connecting a wallet, anytime you connect a wallet to anything, you're always a little bit apprehensive. But if you've got one of our Futureverse community content creators giving you a step-by-step walkthrough as you try it out, that'd be a massive advantage, I think, as well.
So now I'll do it for the second time, because I guess it'll be a little different now, because now I have a brain with a memory node. So when I go to select my node, when I go to train brain this time, now it lists my brain number 579, and I can click on it, and it gives me two options: use untrained memory or memory node 1. And it says a memory node is a saved memory from past training stored in the memory tree of an ASM brain. Select a memory node to continue your AI agent's training or start from a new untrained memory. So I guess this time I'll select from memory node 1. Last time I didn't have a choice to do that because it was the first time, so I only could choose an untrained memory. And then I think I'll use the same parameters again, which is the movement, positioning, AI agent training focus, and using the default learning parameters. And I'll train against the wall again and hit begin training. That whole thing was very simple and easy. When you press begin training, it asks you to confirm the transaction on your MetaMask. Again, it's on the Porcini testnet, so there's no real cost of doing business here. This is, you're not using your own money in any way, shape, or form, even for the transactions. So now we'll wait and we'll talk in the meantime while my brain number 579 does its second training session. What other subjects do we have to talk about? Anything? I think we were expecting some things by the end of this month, but I'm not sure exactly what. Or if we're still expecting them. But I was hoping that we would see the marketplace on, at least some progress on a marketplace, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. And we're also probably would need some more tooling available in the network to make it more usable. I'm not sure what to expect and when.
Yeah, I can't speak to timelines, but I would say all of those things are kind of top priorities. Things like TTK white paper, marketplace, DEX, those sorts of things are definitely top of mind. So we're trying to get those out, as soon as we can and get everybody informed and up to date on where all that kind of stands. So that's just to say it's a top priority. Meta, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what do we know about BOF? What does it stand for? Obviously, we saw a post over the last couple of days where you have the ability to, stake FLUF assets? They also had Atom Car Club, Penguins. What's going on there?
Isn't that LV50's company?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Well, I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what to comment.
It looks like it's been through the Outlier Kickstarter or accelerator program, but judging by its layout and the color of its graphics, of its logo and everything else that goes with it. You can see that it's got the MasterCard integrated into the wallet as well, so obviously Immersive plays a part here. Just think it's interesting.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like a YieldFi, DeFi kind of platform that LV50 and some folks have been working on, so.
Well, I'm seeing some news coming across. 9 minutes ago, we've seen the longtime holder of Niven's McTwist, which was originally minted by the person that had it until 9 minutes ago, has changed hands to a new community member. Well, not a person that is new to the community, but congratulations to the Doyle on the acquisition of one of the 6 silver fluffs in existence.
Oh, congrats to both. That's awesome.
If we look at the transaction, it seems to have been a trade for a Mutant Ape Yacht Club and some other Yuga assets associated with Other Deed and the HVMTL thing. So yeah, there we go. So congratulations on the new silver fluff. I can also talk about the crown sales. 3 crown sales recently. There were 3 crown sales recently. That is my comment on that. Was that not sufficient? I don't really know what else.
We had Jeff do a space yesterday about auto blockchain, and numerous times he mentioned the correlation with the root network, and I'm looking forward to having further conversations with the people in charge to be a part of the XRPL. So that's very interesting to watch what he's doing there, because it's very different to what we're used to seeing regarding custody. It's very much for a more institutional, secure, traditional style of DeFi and custody. So very exciting what those guys are doing.
Interesting.
I'm just trying to think what other interesting things came across Twitter this week for our ecosystem.
Oh, the TNL bridge closes today.
Oh, yes. I did the TNL bridge at 21 Gwei, which I was pretty proud of myself for. I think that cost around $5.
I'm having a bit of fun with naming these boxes and giving them a backstory. Not a big backstory, just to participate, you know. When the TNL crew put a post up saying, "What's your story?" You know, it's not hard to chuck one together.
Wait, is that Dougal? Is Doyle Dougal? No.
No.
Just making sure.
Those are different people.
Just making sure. Cool.
Well, I want to remind people about how next week we will be having a panel, and for anyone that is willing to be on the panel, all you need to do is be on stage and try to be there by the start of the show, which is at the usual time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a week from today. And we have a Twitter DM group that's only used for volunteering and asking for volunteers to be on the panel. And then 3 weeks from today will be the European time. We already have our first volunteer for the European time, which will be at 7 p.m. UTC 3 weeks from today. To the extent that anyone is willing to be on the panel, which I should add is extremely helpful, because at the start of most of our shows recently, it's been a bit of a monologue or a dialogue to start, whereas the best shows that we have conversations with lots of different opinions and multiple people bringing up different topics that they want to talk about. It makes for a much better show than me rambling on. So, if anyone is willing to join the group, please send me or Somnium a DM asking to join the group. And we're currently looking for, I should say. We're not choosing people. Anyone that volunteers is accepted immediately into the panel.
It's an extension of the application process. It's a panelist of judges you're gonna have to make it through.
There is no judges whatsoever. As soon as you volunteer, you get accepted immediately. It is not a very stringent test. It is very easy to pass. In fact, everyone can pass it. And we hope that many people do. We would like to get 4 to 6 people because we think at that amount of people, we can have a reasonable conversation. And then we would still have many more slots available to add more people that may not be on the panel but have anything to say on the particular day. And we really hope that people will volunteer because it will make the show better. And we really, we don't want to beg, but please.
I was just sort of, I don't know, grifting through some spaces before I jumped on here today, and I was in an XRP one, and I saw that NFT Sales put a post out saying, thanks for jumping into the lion's den or something like that. But it was an XRP space. It was BTC Maxis against XRPL crew, and they kept defending. The XRP people kept talking about cross-border payments over and over and over again, and the BTC guys were talking about payments, and that's just such a small part of the XRPL. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring and explain that the Root network uses the XRPL for cheap, efficient, clean, deep liquidity, and all that good stuff. But in doing so, the BTC Maxis, they came for me. Started talking about Lightning Network and all of this. But tell you what, you're going to have an exciting show. Just reach out to some BTC Maxis. They're always good for it. And I do encourage anybody to jump into a random Twitter space and throw the word Futureverse out there and see if anybody's ever heard of it, because most of the time I find out they haven't.
Interesting. We have no credits left on the stage. Welcome.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you? I just wanted to mention the other thing that happened this week was, possibly because I'm involved in it, that's why I'm interested, was the Atom Car Club rolling art competition. They presented all the entries to everyone, which was pretty amazing to see the quality of those entries. Sadly, there was only probably 6 or 7 people who entered, so I'd love to know from anyone listening or you guys on the panel, why that was. Are people just not interested in learning 3D, or was it too hard, or what? I had a lot of fun pushing boundaries and coming up with some cool entries, and I hope that it kind of inspires more people to have a go as well.
Yeah, I always thought those were really cool the way that the Futureverse Ecosystem has done a lot of different projects or different competitions with 3D entries. I know there's like a crew of people that generally enter them, and then there's some more people that may have done it in the past but don't do it anymore. And I wonder if it's just because participation across the whole ecosystem and across the whole Web3 space has shrunk, which makes it less eyes on it, less people willing to spend the time on it. I'm not sure what the prizes were, but the value of prizes for previous competitions would have been higher just based on the fact that the valuations of all assets across the Futureverse ecosystem and an overwhelming majority of Web3 projects that have been around for a while have been, on the decline. So if you would give the same prize now as you gave a year ago, that would be worth less in fiat currency. So that incentivization would be a little less, and I don't know, maybe those are some of the reasons why less people participate.
Yeah, no credits. I thought they were really good entries, mate. Like all of them. I actually really liked the way that Adam Car Club put them together as well, so we could see them all roll through. There's a nice easy format there. Have we spoken about the gym inside the Adam Car Club opening up?
I don't think we have too much.
There isn't really, is there? It's a beautiful looking room, but until you can push some buttons and interact with it, that's what it is. Now, we had Aaron also talk at the Morgan Stanley China Summit in Hong Kong yesterday. Now, unfortunately, I know that this is an institutional investors only summit, so it's a closed door, and we won't be able to get any video coming out of that. But maybe if we're lucky, Aaron might be able to show some of the clips from the presentation on Twitter for us. Aaron, I know you're listening. Put some stuff out there for us, buddy.
Yeah, I just want to shout out the TNL stuff as well, just the redo of the boxers and how they look now, and seeing the not the redo, but just upgrade of the boxers and the new dot system, making them look a bit cleaner and having them in 3D now. I think that was a big step forward to put those in the hands of the community, and I thought they looked awesome. So just want to shout that out. It was cool seeing him in the garage as well, standing around kind of ghost boxing. That was cool.
It's pretty crazy. I jump into quite a few NFT spaces because I'm not an NFT DJ. I come from finance, so I'm still learning a lot about the whole culture that goes with it. And I tell you what, being in the Moonbird space the other day, that just blew my mind. Just I don't know what these people are thinking. When I come from a utility-based background where everything needs a roadmap, it needs to make sense, it needs to be a vision, and his whole philosophy behind the Moonbirds is purely art-based. And I'm like looking at these pictures of these Moonbirds and going, I mean, if you love it, you love it. But if you don't, where are we going with this? But it was just a crazy, crazy space, especially when he did say that dollar for dollar, it's not down as much as the apes are. I was just like, okay, I have to leave this space now. And then you got all that ben.eth.psyop. Now I got another one out called Loyal. Like, people, be careful out there. I know it's quiet in the market right now. It's not much to do. But compared to these meme coins going on, the stuff the Futureverse is doing by that rolling art competitions through to opening the gym up to having the AI even start doing the training and the mapping, that's pretty incredible. That's a pretty amazing week compared to, say, I don't know, Moonbirds.
Yeah, it's hard to say we're not shipping.
Well, I think a lot of the things that have been delivered lately are not the most integral parts of what have been promised. So while there has been delivery, there can definitely be a case made that there hasn't been the delivery that is what certain people are looking for. And that would be a fair argument that can be made. So
I've taken this opportunity to put some final pieces together for my collection. That meant having a second brain so that I can do splicing. There was a great opportunity to pick up brains during the last few weeks. Managed to get myself an AFA All-Star assimilated team together of 4. I never had an AFA All-Star until now. I even got a Jadu hoverboard in my backpack. So had a few little good pickups during the quiet time. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I'm holding now. Nice, diverse spread across the board.
And a comment on why kind of things like Ben.eth's meme coin situation, why that would lead the narrative in Web3. The reason why is because the infrastructure for Web3 and the companies that are building in Web3 have not done a great job of providing or delivering anything that is particularly noteworthy, that can find a product market fit outside of number go up, and narratives more so than real tools and things that normal everyday people might want to use. people predominantly buying NFTs today are doing so because they expect the number of something to go up. They have been wrong several times, but that is, for the most part, why people buy NFTs. There are, of course, exceptions to that, but the infrastructure is pretty poor, and the types of things that people seem to want to do that are in this space is buy meme coins and sell meme coins for the opportunity to try to make money or to gamble or whatever it is that they're doing. But it is the reason why products that don't actually do anything, such as a meme coin, are popular, because things that try to do anything that is substantial aren't good enough to warrant people to use them for a reason other than to make money. So until we get to that place, it is reasonable to expect more Ben.eth to pop up doing weird things that don't seem to have a real life use case outside of, I don't know, gambling and, I don't know, things that seem potentially illegal or very degenerate. I don't know. I hope that one day in the not too distant future we see better infrastructure and the ability for real companies to use Web3 technology to provide better products and experiences than they could without Web3 technology. That just currently is a dream, not a reality. So
I think my headset switched, but I just wanted to make a point on the Meta's point earlier that we're definitely shipping things and putting things out there into the hands of community. So I think Paddi's a great example of that, and then kind of teasing like the Futureverse chat or Future Chat, and I know there's been some teasing of the 3D Objects tool for AI prompt. We've seen Replicant. We've seen the Mid-Journey kind of tool and AI music tool. I mean, those are, just to name a few that are kind of in the pipeline. So, just think it's awesome to see a lot of these things coming to fruition.
I will personally be happy when we have a network that can do most of the things that it set out to do on its white paper, and would be something that people could use just like any other network that is like out of alpha. And that could be something that other companies might consider using at some point. We're not yet at that place, and I'm hoping to see steps that markedly that show the progress of getting to that place in a real way. I know Aaron did a presentation yesterday, maybe it was, but I don't have much information on what he presented. I think it might have been in China.
Yeah, I just touched base with him yesterday. It was in Hong Kong, China. It's Morgan Stanley. It's institutional investors only. As I said before, it's a closed door event, so there will be no video footage coming out from it, unfortunately. But as it was a presentation, he will have clips, and I don't know, maybe he can share some of those clips with us that are used for that presentation. That would be pretty exciting to see.
Well, I guess I don't really know enough to comment on that, but I hope that there will be some more public information as well that, well, maybe not so much information, but delivery of items that will get the network in a place where it needs to be to, function and to have other people building on top of it or consider to build on top of it. So I think, given that next week we will be having our panel, and this week we don't have as much to talk about or as many people on stage as we hope to have next week. So I think we should end it around now. Does anyone have any final words? And if anybody is in the audience and dying to ask a question or is confused about anything, now's your time to jump on stage, because we otherwise will be ending the space soon. And yeah, go ahead, no credits.
Tell us a bit more about the panel. Like, what sort of topics you're going to talk about? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, so we are looking for anyone that we can have. So anyone that is willing. And the only requirement to joining the panel is we want you to be there at the beginning of the space on the stage. You don't have to come up with anything to talk about. You just have to come on time at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the same time that we started today, next week. So 7 days from today. We have a Twitter DM group that currently has a handful of members. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, only 7 members. If you are in this group, you would know. So if you're not in this group and you would like to help out by being on the panel, which all that means is being on stage from the beginning of the show. You don't have to stay to the end of the show either. You just have to be on the stage in the beginning, so that when we start our conversation, it's not a monologue or a dialogue like it has been several times recently. That will lead to more engaging conversations and hopefully better spaces where people can feel like they walked away with a better experience. So,
I've got an idea. I mean, I can't do the European time slot because that's too early for me. But for the time slots I can do, how about I do the week on Twitter? You know, I'll go during the week, I'll bookmark a few things that are of interest. Maybe some things that the community have done, the occasional fluff pickup, and I'll do a quick recap on the week in Twitter when I jump on stage in the future. How about that?
Well, that would be great. Thank you.
I'd be happy to put my name down, Max. I'm usually available.
Oh, I'll add you to the group right now. And yeah, for anyone else that would be willing to be a part of the group, that would be great. And we like to hear from people with all sorts of opinions. So no need to, please don't feel like I have an opinion that differs from other people, so I don't want to do it. Please, anyone with any types of opinions, we'd love to have you. We now have a new person on stage, Terry. Welcome, Terry.
Hi. I'd love to join your panel for the U.S. I couldn't send you a message, so I don't know what you want me to do, but I put,
I just had...
Yes, we will add you to the group. Somnium already has. Sam, did you also add...
Yep, I got you. Got no credits and Terry in there. Appreciate you guys stepping up.
I have to learn how to add somebody. Do you...
You click on the members list, and then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a button to add someone.
Add people. We got another volunteer. Thanks so much for all our volunteers. We just got... Did we just get 3 right now? Great. Awesome. So what I posed, which is the first message in the group, which is volunteers for the one 7 days from today. And also for the one 21 days for today, which will be at the European time of 7 p.m. UTC, instead of the normal time, which is 7 p.m. ETC. Wait, ES, Eastern Standard Time, EST. So we hope to have great shows on those 2 days, and then we're still figuring out what to do about other shows, but we hope to have some guests on in the future, though we really haven't had special guests on in a while, except for 2 weeks ago we had Alex. So while the team is in the current stage where it's in, which is they just rolled up 11 companies, I think it was, into one big company, and that required a lot of personnel changes and a lot of shifting, and now we're a little bit less confident in our ability to have team members on the show, and we are waiting for a lot of delivery items, which would maybe make for some opportunities for team members to go on the show. Like maybe we could have had somebody on the show to talk about the Pong game. What is it called again? Paddle? But as of now, they're having their own AMA. But, what we've done in the past a lot of times is when an item has been delivered, we've had someone come talk about it. And we hope to bring that back once again, but it hasn't been happening over the past couple of months because of things going on with the team. In regards, I think the biggest reason is because of the rollup, but they're also changing communication strategies, I think. So it just hasn't been easy to get guests from the team. So we hope these 2 panels will be successful episodes where people will share their opinions and talk to one another and have a good conversation. A lot of the best spaces that we've ever had on Down the Rabbit Hole have been ones where there was not an interview person, but there was this great conversation. And we hope that having the panel feature that we're having is going to spur that to have some great conversations. I hope so. And I hope we get conversations from a lot of different angles with a lot of differing opinions.
Yeah, and I've also pinned the Paddi spaces for tomorrow for the altered spaces. So if anybody wants to attend that tomorrow, we'll have some more information in the chat on that. Feel free to come with any questions, and that'll be kind of where we can have a chat around Paddi.
Thanks, Tom. And anytime I join, I'm going to be joining from the dog park, so don't expect too much from me. It's a bit of hit and miss at times.
No worries. We just appreciate you being here, sir.
That's good. I also am in a dog park. It's just a private one where only Clover is invited. So, with that being said, Sam, do you have any final words for today?
No. Just excited for what we got going on, and bunnies up.
All right, so we'll see you next week. We're still looking for volunteers. Right now we have a couple of volunteers. We're looking to get 4 to 6, and so pretty much if you volunteer, you get the job. We're not gonna deny anybody. So thanks in advance. And if you do volunteer, please try to come on time, and we'll start off without a monologue, but rather with a conversation with a bunch of people, and it should be a great time. And I really hope it works out, and anybody listening will enjoy. Thanks to everybody that listens to this episode, and thanks to everyone that participates in the show. And we'll see you next week. As always, the recording is available as soon as the show ends. And thank you very much. Some emojis in the chat.
Have a good rest of your week, guys. Bunnies up.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!